and we laughed our heads off. Leaving an automobile with the engine still running at a stoplight is just foolish. Chasing fake money oddly crawling along the sidewalk is even more so. Our laughter quickly went beyond quiet snorts and chuckles, though we tried desperately to remain covert. It was just too funny. What was equally as funny is that neither one of us stopped to realize that as I reeled in the line with the man chasing the money, I was also leading him right to us. Before we knew it, we were face to face with a man whose forehead was covered with beads of sweat, whose dress shirt was soaked with perspiration, and whose face was twisted into a scowl. As a young boy, I don't recall ever seeing an adult that angry before. The man screamed at us and said words I'd had my mouth washed out with soap for. Plus, I learned a few new words that day. I grabbed my pole and my friend, and we ran away as hard and fast as we could through that field. The man never caught us, and once we arrived back at my friend's house safe and sound, we laughed that he'd never caught the $20 bill either. The fake bill, that is. That was the last time we played what we called the money game. That was probably the last time that businessman dared to get out of his car to attempt to chase down a 20 in broad daylight, too. In Pursuit. We can laugh at this story, but the truth is, we have all chased after something that had no real value at all, just like that fake $20 bill. We can be successful at what, in the end, doesn't even matter. We have also all pursued things that seemed good and valuable, only to end up disappointed, rejected, or discouraged. Sometimes a college application is submitted, but the resulting letter of denial disappoints us. We can apply for the job, only to see it go to another candidate. A relationship we invested in can end not in greater connection, but in heartbreak and betrayal. On the other hand, sometimes our pursuits in life do lead to accomplishing a few goals. Maybe our hard work pays off, and we make some new friends, accumulate some achievements, or attain a promotion or two. I am a firm believer in pursuing dreams and taking risks. There is certainly something special that takes place on the journey, whether the outcome is achieved or not. I am also a firm believer that there are no guarantees that every pursuit will end up the way we hope it will. There is one pursuit we can go on, however, where our expectations and hopes are not only realized, they are exceeded. What pursuit is this? It is our pursuit of a deeper, sacred, more intimate connection with Jesus. The pursuit is not one of striving or begging. Rather, it is one of inheriting and embracing. We chase the reality of God from a heart that is fully and finally at rest in Jesus. The deeper spiritual connection occurs by being authentic, intentional, and vulnerable with God. There is a mind-blowing, never-ending connection with God available to everyone right now. I am not necessarily talking about meeting God so you can go to heaven after you die. That is of primary importance, don't get me wrong, for eternity is long, and your eternal salvation cost God all, His Son. What I am referring to is the audacious pursuit of God and God's reckless love for you. What I call the sacred chase. Perhaps you can think of salvation in Christ like a door. Once you walk through that door, you will discover how unsearchable the love and promises of God are for you. For the difficulties ahead, and for those moments of celebration, yes, but even more so for your everyday. All of heaven desires to see your life soaked with the reality of God's presence. Pursuing this is worth all of your efforts. When deep connection and friendship with God is someone's desire, I have never seen that someone walk away disappointed. Heaven is tangible now. Although our lives should change when we meet Jesus, salvation is more than the transition from being a bad person to becoming a good person. When we receive the amazing gift of salvation, God performs the most remarkable miracle in our lives. Through salvation in Jesus, we literally go from being spiritually dead and eternally separated from God
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.